Hello, episode
Hello.
56 of Dissonant Waves.
56. 56.
Oh, yeah.
56. This is the milestone number, right?
Yeah, this is the midlife crisis episode.
I'm just
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
if you're having a midlife crisis at 56,
It's pretty late.
yeah, that's pretty late. Some people die at 54.
Some people live to 112. Never know.
And if you're from my area where I grew up, sometimes you don't even make it to 20.
Oof. Yeah.
That's deep. Okay. I'm Dominic. Ritalin and Trix are both here.
Actually,
Yeah.
Dominic, aren't you from Chicago or wherever? Like, I can't remember what the actual state is.
Illinois.
Illinois.
Illinois is.
Yes.
Weren't you in Chicago?
Nearby. I used to live in Chicago, but I'm like an hour outside of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like every part of Chicago is more deadlier than like the deadliest part of Australia.
I mean, they don't really have venomous snakes in
No, but
Chicago.
you do have people waving guns everywhere, which I think has killed more people than the snake has ever have.
But I didn't die.
Yeah, this is
I was
not
fine.
the best decision for. This might not be the best discussion for a music podcast.
We'll just cover Rage Against the Machine and NWA, and then it'll be the perfect discussion.
Yeah, we'll wait till then.
But until then, we do have a few albums to talk about right now. We've got Halcyon Digest by Deerhunter, Smiley with No Teeth by Genesis Owusu, Dopethrone by Electric Wizard, with a special appearance by the song Sweet Leaf by Black Sabbath.
Yes.
They just stole the song and put it on the record.
Even the coughing, it was right there.
They can't keep getting away with this.
I guess should we talk about Dopethrone then?
I kind of want to get it over and done with, to be honest, because I didn't really enjoy this one as much as Trix and I would have, and I have no idea how much you enjoyed this.
Well, why did you pick it, Trix? It was somewhere in your doom metal history lesson thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of going down like some of like the best doom metal records, and Dopethrone is definitely up there.
Okay. Yeah, kind of with Ritalin on this one, that it has that blender quality to it for me, where a lot of the songs sound the same or similar, and there is some differentiation, but you can really struggle to tell them apart sometimes.
This
Oh,
album for me is like the perfect example when I want to tell somebody that I am impressed by an album. I think it's technically great, but I do not like it.
Yeah, that's fair.
There is no, like, every part of this album that I dislike is not because the band is shit or the album is shit or the recording is shit or the production is shit. I'm just not into it. It's one of those weird ones to kind of explain, because then you have to go and say why you're not into this, and it's just like you gotta act like some stoned loser on the side of the street going, I just don't vibe with it.
Yeah, I don't
Although,
exactly.
actually, I feel like this album is with a stone loser on the side of the street. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an album I definitely vibe with. It's like I think I'm kind of in the same boat. I do appreciate it technically. I think the recordings are immaculate and the levels of sound are really interesting, especially because a lot of the instrumentation's in the background of the song, kind of. There's still like an upper current, and then other instruments are kind of down lower.
I
But
have a former coworker I know damn well, probably already knows this album, probably already loves it, but that same coworker unironically listens to Chipmunks on 1/16th speed. So
That is actually like a good video. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't say it was a bad one,
but yeah, technically it is great. I don't know if it's something I would go back to necessarily.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, do I appreciate that the Weird Tales song is like a doom metal construction, kind of just spread out over 15 minutes? Sure. Because it's like you got the beginning part, and then when it slows down into like the moshy chugga chugga, then the third part of that's like a very ambient, just kind of noise section.
I will say as well that despite not really enjoying this album, and I guess this is kind of contradicting statement here, there were songs that I actually did like. I like it's kind of hard for me to say sometimes that I like some the songs when all the songs kind of go off in their own thing. Some songs here have like 5 different titles to them, and they're all like 10 minutes long.
Mhm.
But like I liked parts of Funeralopolis. I thought that song did kind of pique my interest on the first listen, and it made me want to go on with this album. But then like everything else until the title track just didn't grab me at all.
You're not a fan of the weed gasp. Wizard.
Nah,
It was
nah,
fine.
but I like the title track though. Like Dopethrone, I actually think is the like the best track of this album by far.
Oh yeah,
If there was
I
any
mean,
song that I went back to off this album, I probably still won't because doom metal's not really for me. But if I did, it would be that song. Just I think I think the vocals deliveries on that just I hate using this word because it sounds cringe, but they were kind of epic.
okay.
Like if you
yeah,
get what I
I'll give you
mean.
that. Yeah,
It, I'm not trying to say like oh my god epic type of way in that way, but like there was supposed to be these like grand moments. And
yeah,
when he shouts out "Dope Throne," it hits right. I actually found myself really enjoying that.
yeah. And it's also worth mentioning that doom metal heads are just stoners who got really into Dungeons and Dragons, trying to create evil music, evil sounding music.
Hey, I'll have you know that there's the band in Melbourne that was also very much influenced by Simpsons quotes. Doctor Colossus, baby.
Yes. So doom metal heads are just nerds, and
Mm,
Dominic pointed this out last week with the Aussie World of Warcraft ads.
mm.
Yeah. I was gonna try to draw a distinction, and then it's like, oh no, wait, Ozzy just did those ads. There's like doom metal in general is very just nerdy.
It's the Venn diagram between doom metal heads and just D&D fantasy nerds. It's a flat.
Yeah, I don't know. From
I, I know a bunch of D&D heads who would not be into doom metal, but
No, but
yeah,
I'm saying like it's
yeah, I
like
feel like
an
doom
inset
metal.
circle.
Yeah, I feel like the comparison only goes one way, not both.
Yeah.
I don't know, my personally like one of my favorites was the 47-second song, "The Hills Have Eyes," which it just sounds like it was just taken from a larger jam session, and it's just like 47 seconds of it being really jazzy.
Yeah.
And that was like a kind of a weird break that I was into. It was just like, hey, we could have just not had this be a thing because it's 47 seconds. Who cares? But somebody liked it, obviously enough.
I also looked in a Wikipedia article on like just the creation of this album because sometimes I actually do that. It's weird. I should be preparing more for a podcast. Anyway, and I find it interesting that as they said that when they first were recording albums, they literally had no idea what the fuck they were doing,
Right.
and apparently this was the first album that they actually felt like they actually knew what they were doing when they created it.
They filled of like their biggest attempt at like evil music being like
Mm.
just really, negative and hurtful or whatever, spewing out all the evil.
Yeah, like
Cat stole my
just
garlic bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like we hate you with just like that like visceral disgusting like fuzz sound. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like that's even like Dope Throne is "We Hate You" is also like one of the lines, especially at the end.
Yeah.
Like kind of that similar epic feeling to hear that.
Starting to sound like a Def Clock song.
I also like the bonus track. That was pretty cool. Like Mind Transferal. That was just 7.5 minutes of like instrumentals, and then all that silence, and then just that little bit.
I didn't even realize that it was a bonus track for a while. Like, because obviously when they did the reissue, they changed around how the songs work to kind of make it flow into it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I because this is my first experience into it, I didn't realize that Dopethrone was actually the ender, or the closer. Ender. I'm good with my words. Fucking Ender man. That's my Minecraft.
We know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know. Let's be a Minecraft podcast now.
What's your favorite Minecraft block?
Fuck. This is too hard. Let's go back to music.
Dirt. Some dirt.
Hey,
Dirt.
I know. I like this sponge because they had that in for like alpha, and then they realized they didn't know what the fuck they were doing with sponge because all the water would just go. So they had to remove
Yeah.
sponge. What a fucking block. Now it doesn't do anything.
It's
Hmm.
no, it's in the game and it
It
absorbs water.
actually absorbs water now. Granted,
Yes, it
it's been
does.
a
And you
while.
can like,
It's been a while since I played Minecraft.
yeah, you have to get them from ocean temples, and you can bake them once they're full of water and reuse them.
Interesting.
So, Minecraft concerts are a thing, and we should get an electric wizard Minecraft concert.
I mean, I guess they're still
Anyway,
playing, so we could.
Oh yeah, they're still putting out albums too, and they're all good.
only one of the members is still in, and
The main
it's
guy,
weird. They were 3-piece when they did this album,
right?
and now they're a
Yeah.
4-piece, and like they completely changed their instruments and stuff.
Well, and
It's pretty cool. First, they're pretty weird, but
and the
pretty cool.
singer is married to the guitarist Liz Buckingham as well.
Yeah, that's not too
Mhm.
odd.
Nah.
Even though,
It is worth mentioning that so far this is the lowest tuned album we've encountered so far
Mhm.
at A sharp.
what goes lower than that?
Brown Note.
It's you can go real low with something like Conan, but we're not going to cover Conan yet.
Okay.
Conan tunes all the way down to F sharp,
Mhm.
which that means the guitar is tuned a note higher than a standard tuned bass guitar.
Okay.
So that's getting into brown note levels.
Oh yeah, they're
Although
elect.
you have to play the recorder to do the brown note.
Yes, but yeah, and like if you go to a Conan concert, the jelly of your eyes wobbles.
Wow,
Fuck.
that's intense.
That's
Yeah.
I love the description of jelly. Fuck. That's like both I hate it and I love it as a description.
Fair.
Like it just like if you like with like Jello or whatever, if you like flick it and it like just wobbles like for like a good while.
Let me
That's
just
what
flick
happens to
my
your
eye and
eyes.
test it. Yeah.
Yeah, are you gonna be like okay after that?
And
Because that's very intense
Yeah.
to feel.
Oh yeah,
Like-
it's you don't really feel it. You it's called infrasound, and it's like also like a psychological thing that people think causes like types of insanity, like temporary insanity and
Interesting. Okay.
hallucinations.
Should we get you off just doing metal stuff? It sounds dangerous.
I can quit anytime, I swear.
You're going to be quitting for a little bit pretty soon. So I think you're fine. I think
Yeah.
Imagine
I'm still gonna
going
be
into
listening on my
rehab
own.
because you listened to too much Conan.
Uh,
What are you in here for? Heroin usage. What are you in here for? Just like making my eyes jelly wobble. Fucking
Is there much else to say about Electric Wizard?
I like the album.
I told my father I was trying to like chase one of the bass fuzz tones on this, and I told him to listen to one of the songs, completely forgetting that the album art is just a wizard ripping a bong.
That's
Yeah.
be good. The album art, honestly, is my favorite part of this whole week. Just fucking love it.
Yeah.
Good old wizard having a good time.
Speaking of having,
Although I feel like that actually is a good representation of the people who listen to this album.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, you've seen the joke about how when Christmas comes, metalheads start getting confused for Santa.
favorites for me still Hills of Eyes, Mind Transferal. Least favorite, hard to tell. It's kind of a blunder.
I don't really have a least favorite because yeah, it's a blender, but Dopethrone's probably my favorite.
Yeah, big fan of "We Hate You." I love just that evil sounding bass fuzz, and if you speed it up, it kind of sounds like a Primus song.
Fair. Okay.
And I don't have
Does,
a least favorite. I love
does
this
that mean
album.
if you slow down a Primus song, it sounds like doom metal?
I haven't tried, but it might.
Well, I should I should download I'll just illegally download Tommy the Cat. It's Tommy the Cat's song, isn't it?
Yeah, I would go for
Yeah.
something more like "My Name Is Mud," and you can just do it on YouTube.
Actually, I might do John the Fisherman.
That's a good one to do.
Yeah. Do, 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 do. I've lost track of where we are. Uh,
Good album.
Well,
Listen to it.
speaking of having fun, someone's having fun on another cover art we have today. Genesis Owusu.
that's the worst fucking segue you've ever done.
I was thinking of it a minute ago, and then we went past it, so I decided to park that car and wait.
I, a segue is not a car.
It's called a metaphor.
No, but the
Uh,
inventor of the Segway drove one off a cliff and died.
honestly, he died the way he lived. Anyway, so Genesis Owusu, I actually it came into knowledge of this guy a couple years back, not really realizing it, and I actually discovered his brother's music around 6 years ago.
Mhm.
I believe I told you to watch the music video of Citizen K's "Life Gives You Lemons," where that whole music video is him going to a grocery store, buying a shit ton of lemons and avocado, and making guacamole.
Nice.
Great video. And I didn't actually realize until last year that these two were brothers, which now makes sense because they've actually collaborated with each other quite a number of times. And I think I discovered Owusu's music back in 2018. I kind of just had it on, didn't really notice. And then last year, Don't Need You comes out. Me being the idiot that I am, don't really pay attention to the song until after I've done my Song of the Year list. Finally go around to giving it the songs that I've missed a listen, and yeah, now this album is one of my favorite pop albums of the year, so
It's pretty good.
Good album.
I mean, I think it's more than just like a pop album. He consciously goes for like
yeah,
punk.
there's like there's a lot of hip hop influence in this as well. If you've ever taken a look at the interviews he's done, specifically the one with Fantano, where his whole room that he's doing the interview in, you can see all this vinyl back there, and there's the Pimp a Butterfly, there's
Yeah.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, all like the classic hip hop albums and stuff of the past 10 years. It, he also talks about like because he considers himself hip hop as well. Uh,
Sure.
he's more R&B, I guess, but like it's all on that. And he kind of considers himself in like this second wave of Australian hip hop. I've never really covered the first wave on this podcast, but that's pretty much artists like Hilltop Hoods and we had stuff like 1200 Techniques, Zoo, 360, and it's kind of like this new wave, but it's also this wave that's kind of going into more of a either indigenous or more like because like Genesis not it's not indigenous, he's from Ghana,
Right.
but it's like yeah more people who have like foreign backgrounds or stuff like we have like Sampa the Great who I believe I can't remember I think she's from Zimbabwe, but I could be completely wrong. We had one who had that. Actually, I need to check that up. I think we have one who's from Zimbabwe, it's like nationality, and we have one who's Papua New Guinea, and I think I'm getting TK and Sampa mixed up, but they're both in this kind of new wave of Australian hip hop, which is getting a lot of traction. Obviously with TK Meister, it got number one of Fantano's EPs of the year last year, which is a pretty big deal for anything Australian to top a list. And now Owusu's come out. He got a bit of popularity as well after Kieran J. Callanan and kind of helped promote him. In fact, Kieran J. Callanan does quite a lot of instrumentation on this album. Same with Touch Sensitive, who is a pretty popular producer in this country.
Yeah, they're credited
So
as being like the backup band, basically.
yeah, for a debut, he's got a pretty star-studded lineup here.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these weird kind of collaborations that well, not weird, but like big names. Like the title track has Rule on it, who's I don't think Rule's had any success outside of Australia, but he's kind of like this 18, 19-year-old pop singer who's had quite a lot of hits in this country.
Mm.
Matt Corby as well. Matt Corby was a weird one. He was originally I think he won Australian Idol, and then he decided that he didn't want to really go with the record contract, so he stayed and did his own thing, and now he's very popular in the indie scene.
Ah.
Nice.
Australian Idol just randomly has a bunch of people like that. We used to have some really shit ass winners, but that's to be expected.
Yeah, with any like pop idol sort of deal.
And it's also weird that Kieran J. Callanan's really only credited on one track. Like he is obviously credited with the bass and stuff, but like actually as a featured artist, he's only on Drown, which granted that's the only one he really does singing on, but still.
Right, he is the singer on it.
Yeah. No, it's both Owusu and Callanan.
Is it really? I didn't detect a difference.
They have very similar singing styles.
Okay, I'll have to listen again.
But I'm pretty sure it's both. And yeah, that's all I got off the top of my head here.
I mean, the other Black Dog is such an interesting like attention getter. Like when you shared that with us, that won me over automatically. The song is so good.
You don't know what to expect when it starts off with like this Indian or stereotypical native Indian call. I probably shouldn't call them the Native Americans. Sorry, I should not have called them Indians.
The war cry kind of thing.
Yeah. So it starts off with that war cry, and you just don't know what to expect. I'm still unsure about the war cry, to be honest, but the whole song's so batshit insane that I'm willing to ignore it.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Fair.
But like, oh man, the beat is so good and it's just so like catchy.
Yeah.
I hope he didn't mean very much by it. I would hope not.
I wouldn't think so, because as you could tell by my confusion on what to call them, we didn't have that same type of indigenous. Yeah, like our indigenous is it's completely different.
Yeah.
We didn't really have Aboriginals. Well, they have war cries. Every tribe, indigenous tribes have war cries.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can go over to the Maoris in New Zealand, and the haka is probably one of the most popular war cries out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's technically a dance, but still, regardless. But it wasn't kind of in that same vein, so it doesn't really mean so much here in Australia. It's most likely something that was just done because it was cool.
Probably.
Yeah. But one thing I did forget to mention about this album as I was describing it is the recurring theme in this album, the Black Dog, which pretty much appears in. I don't think it's in every song.
Most songs.
But it's in most things, and the Black Dog is kind of a metaphor for racism and depression.
Right, there are two Black Dogs. One is one is racist and one is depression. So from what I was reading, he kind of sings about both of them, kind of pitting them against each other in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like.
Well, one of my favorite moments for deep cuts on this album, I Don't See Color, pretty much talks about the media and their way of kind of excusing their racism by saying that, hey, we don't actually see color.
Right.
I can't remember if I linked it, but there was this very controversial news. It was Channel 7 Sunrise program, and it was talking about if like the Aboriginal parents or something. It wasn't just if they were it wasn't just if they were abusive. It was if they were like underprivileged. and they were doing this panel to say, hey, should white families be able to take them in without question? And then that whole panel had no Aboriginal people on it whatsoever.
Oh, fun.
Oh yeah.
That's the type of
You
shit that
linked
we
that.
get in this.
You talked about that.
Yeah, well, it was a big moment because they all legitimately didn't think they did anything wrong. They thought it was just a regular panel, and going with the whole during that type of panel because they don't see color, which is just another fucking excuse for racism.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not
Which
true.
just
You still see color. It's how you react to
yeah,
it that matters.
yeah. It's like it's when people try to say it's like, I don't see color. We're just hiring. But there are a lot of cases where yes, that is true. But
You still have to wonder.
when it comes to a fucking news panel, getting the
Yes.
best is having diversity.
Yeah.
That's just it. If you got three people with the same fucking opinion, you don't have the best fucking shit. You just got a fucking echo
Yes.
chamber, and that's why I like songs like that, which pretty much call that out. Although it's not my favorite off this album because I think my favorite has to go to fucking Gold Chains and that first fucking verse. Holy shit!
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And the way that he just flows every single fucking line so perfectly. Like he's pretty much got this and got the same rhyme scheme happening, but he's pretty much found every word that he can that rhymes with each other
Yeah.
and just put it in a verse, and it's so fucking good.
Well, his flow is amazing.
Mm.
Like it's very fluid. Like
I've
the words just kind of go into each other with like a breathtaking rhythm.
I specifically love the line of C progression because I beat depression,
Yeah.
which is the whole it's like because Gold Chains references depression quite a lot in it. It's pretty much saying that nobody sees you getting better until it's already that. So no one's really like it kind of feels like you're not getting better until you actually do, and like until it's actually done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, granted, the whole like the only complaint I have about the song is the whole concept of like oh wearing gold chains but you're dead inside. It is a little cliched,
Well, that's the whole point of the
but
album: is smiling with no
yeah,
teeth, smiling on the
yeah.
surface, but it's not everything's okay.
It's not exactly a cliche that I can't forgive though,
Hmm.
because when literally every fucking thing else of the song makes up for it, I think I can let that slide.
Yeah, I mean, he got help, but I think that help really turned this album into something that's pretty great for like a debut.
Mm, mm,
Like, no,
Yeah.
not everyone's gonna have like that team of like musicians from like Banshee and stuff just willing to help you.
mm,
Like, he must be really talented. I think he is.
mm.
Oh shit.
You
I
okay?
think the edible's kicking in.
Nah, I dropped my phone.
But you're about to say, nah, I just dropped it then. But I feel like realistically, the only actual like criticism about this album that can stick is that it is all over the place.
So I think that's part of the charm.
It is, but sometimes it makes it really hard to go through the certain parts. Like I love Smiling with No Teeth
Hmm.
as a song individually, but sometimes it's hard to listen to it right after Gold Chains. And I mean, these two songs that I'm going to mention are both fantastic songs individually. Other Black Dog and a song about fishing. Do they sound like they're on the same album?
No.
No.
And I don't mind that there's all this varied sounds in this album. In fact, yeah, you're right. That is part of the charm. But sometimes it does kind of like hurt the flow
I mean,
because you go into another song and like I don't know if just maybe it's just me. If it's just me, then whatever. I'm a fucking pussy. But it just kind of really jarring. Some of like the differences of the sounds, and it stops this from being a full album and more just a compilation of really good songs.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I
Because
feel like if you lay it out well enough, still have where it all flows together for a specific reason
Mm,
or structural reason, maybe. Like he was trying to do like a little bit of a concept album here, even about the
mm,
Black Dogs, kind of running the whole story
yeah,
throughout.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean,
but
it's like the shock factor of like, oh, a song about fishing, that's way different. That's almost folksy.
I also don't mind that they changed dress, but I also remember that this kind of goes back and forth and it sounds quite a bit like the title track. Oh, not the title track. Sorry. Because I kept saying Black Dogs, so I thought that the actual song called Black Dogs feels like it belongs with the songs at the start more than it does in the middle. And then we go straight in pretty much. Well, I don't know, we get a whip cracker, and then we kind of just go into that more folksy stuff.
Yeah, like
It's
he,
it feels like this could have been something that could have quite easily started off with the kind of the strong, more experimental production, and then it kind of started to ease off as the album goes, and it would have flowed a lot better.
I think, oh, yeah, maybe. Like it's only 15 songs. Like he had,
Yeah.
stuff that has been this long, but it does not seem to drag as much. I think this does drag a little bit.
Mm. And when you come into like the concepts of the Black Dogs, well, it's not like this is a chronological story that's being told.
Right.
It feels weird to like have like this whole part where I'm just like criticizing it because I love this album still. I think it's fantastic, but it's still for me this is just something that like it stops it from being one of the best albums of the year. Is that part of me just goes like this feels just more like a compilation than it does to like
Hmm.
like I know this will make everybody have that little part a part on them and goes, oh my god, he loves this album still. But one of the big reasons I love Petite League is our album is that that flows pretty well.
Yeah, flow is
Okay.
important.
Yeah, because like it's slow. Yeah, it slows down for New Spring, but uh, the way that flows so well into Greyhound that allows it just to pick up again
Right.
is great. And then when it actually has the slow songs, that's how it ends. It'll go
Yeah.
into last year's Hockey Dad's Brain Candy, where that one has like the whole kind of fast start, then it gets into the middle where it slows down, but it allows that slow down to build up into its closer.
Yeah, and I don't with in regards to that Hockey Dad song, I don't think the final song, "Looking Forward to the Change," would be there without like Reno
Mm.
and
Hmm.
that really slow build.
It's just
And
slow build.
and here, realistically, this album probably could have done without uh one of the closing songs because it does drag on for a bit.
Yeah, no
It could
looking.
have had a bit of a change of its order,
Yeah, no looking
and
back is could be
that's about it.
a good closer.
Mm. I know. Bye Bye is not bad, but it is definitely the weakest in my well. The opener and the closer of this album, I think, are the weakest songs. But
Probably.
then everything else from there is just fantastic songs individually.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean,
I I,
it's
I
not.
also haven't given much. I just want to give like a good shout out to a song about fishing, which
Mhm.
the chorus of casting your net in a fishless lake is has been one of the catchiest choruses this whole year.
I mean, it's not all like completely different songs and different genres. He does kind of settle into like a R&B soul kind of
Mm,
rhythm toward the end.
Hmm.
mm.
So I do appreciate that in terms of like, okay, he's found something to latch onto. It might not be the strongest kind of foundation for the entire album, but it's something.
But most importantly, and this is what a debut should always do.
Hmm.
This has me so excited for what he does in the future.
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
definitely interested to see what
Yeah,
comes next.
because the positives about this album being all over the place is that he shows how much potential he has.
Yeah,
He hasn't buckled him down to just one single sound. So if he starts to go for a more coherent album, he's obviously got the potential for that to happen. You can see it here. He also is very open to expanding his sound as well, so he doesn't just sound the same.
right.
And then most importantly, as we've been saying, the songs themselves are fantastic.
Like it's a good calling card album, and that look at all
Yeah.
these different things I can do. Let me work on something specific, but here's my range.
This despite the complaints I have, this still is looking like it's going to be in my top 20 albums of the year come December.
Yeah, it'll be up there for me for sure.
Yeah.
And if he manages to be consistent enough over however long his feature goes for, I have no doubt his second album's going to be just as fantastic, if not better. So we
Yeah.
didn't really talk about "Don't Need You." That song is fun.
Yeah.
Your ass is stinky and you look like a hoe. Oh,
Oh,
is it your ass? Can't remember. Does it look like a hoe or smell like a hoe? Either way, good song.
shout out to Ash, I guess.
She's she's busy watching Gilmore Girls. She gets to do what she wants.
I
I
guess
said
that's
you get
fair.
to do what you want. Stop staring at me. Dominic just shouted out to you. Ash this high. All right, favorites and least favorites. Dominic, I'm gonna
I
make
don't
you go
really have
first.
a least. I'll go first, I guess.
Sure.
I don't really have a least favorite, if I'm gonna be honest.
Fair enough.
I think my favorite is Black Dogs.
Hmm.
I just quite liked the vibe of that song.
It definitely is one of the faster paced songs as well.
And I was that the one with the bass on it? I forget, but there was
A
one
lot of
song that
them
just
had
had like
bass in it.
one of them just had like some really great overdriven bass, and I'm like, ooh yeah.
Dominic?
That might have been Centerfold. I can't remember exactly. I was thinking about that though, Tricks, when that song came on. I was like, Tricks would probably like this.
Yeah.
But I guess
It was later in. I don't think it was Centerfold. It was a little bit later in. I think it was Black Dogs.
maybe. But I mean, for me, the other Black Dogs is a very, very strong song. Probably my favorite overall. And the range of like a song about fishing and all that is important too. But other Black Dogs definitely a favorite. Least favorite, I'm not entirely sure. I don't really have one.
So I think my least favorite's probably going to be Bye Bye. I don't think the close to this album is too strong, to be honest.
Oh yeah, you're
And
right. You're right.
I think my favorites Don't Need You is obviously up there because that song's just fun as hell. I love the beat
Mhm.
to it. I also like Drown as well, which we didn't really talk too much about, other than the Kieran J. Callanan shares the vocals.
Yeah, Drown's pretty cool. It's like was that like the one that was like a Talking Head song?
Yeah.
Eh, Tricks will probably have a better opinion on that, but I think my favorites had to be in between Gold Chains and a song about fishing. They have some of the catchiest choruses of this year's.
Yeah.
Favorite's probably going to go to Gold Chains just because holy fuck that verse is good. I can't repeat it all from start, but for anyone listening who hasn't heard that song or seen the lyrics, just search it up. It's impressive as shit. The second verse is also good. Just I like the first verse more. And before we go to the last album, I just want to share a funny story I'm just reading on someone's Discord right now, where
Mhm.
we have this thing called Album of the Week, where people just choose an album for the rest of the server to listen to and review.
Mhm.
And the last one we had was Michael Kiranuka. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Sorry if I completely fucked it up. And someone's just posted saying, "Holy shit! I got a Bumble match with somebody who likes that artist and asked her how good that album is. I got a response back immediately asking what his favorite song was. So there you go. We successfully set someone up for a date
Nice.
for,
That's pretty
for,
great.
for, through album reviews. This is peak. I don't think we're gonna get better than this.
No.
Anyway, Dominic, you want to introduce the last album?
Yeah, this is the first week of my little 2 week adventure into bands called Deerhunter. So this is Deerhunter with two E's and it's one word. And started in 2001 by Bradford Cox and friends. Bradford Cox being probably one of the most, at least visible, open asexual people in the music community, I think.
If SpongeBob was an artist.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is definitely an album where I had heard Desire Lines, and I really liked that song. So I figured this would be a good album to probably listen to, right? And I also read it's probably one of the higher critically rated like albums from the early 2010s, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'll be honest, it did not live up to my expectations.
Oh.
You weren't big into this album.
Not as much as I thought it would be, because Desire Lines is a great song. I really like it.
I got into this album on the second listen. I found it cheap on Discog, so I ordered it.
Mhm.
It's not my favorite of the week, but there's enough to enjoy from this album.
I don't know. I really felt like the first half of the song did not really sit with me very much. Or the first half of the album.
However, I have heard the sound quite a lot from different artists. This kind of ventures on lo-fi surf rock,
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
DIY.
I quite liked it.
but I think when it comes to my favorite album from lo-fi surf rock, and this is what I found myself kind of comparing it to a bit, even though the one that I'm going to compare it to is a bit heavier, was actually Waves King of the Beach,
When did that come out?
because that came out 2010 as well, I think.
Okay, okay.
And it just has very similar production and at times similar sound. Granted, I think this album's a bit more serious than that one was.
I think one of the problems I kind of found as I was listening to it more was that most of the songs are by Bradford Cox, who writes them, sings on them. But then there are two songs who are done by one of the other band members, Lockett Punt, and they sound very different. Like Desire Lines and Fountain Stairs. He wrote those and he sung on those. And like he doesn't process his vocals as much. They have kind of a different foundation. And so like there's these two styles of songs that don't really match with each other. They just kind of have a similar sound, but that's it. So it kind of messes with the flow.
Mm. I mean, this album flowed fine for me. I think it flowed better than the Genesis Owusu.
I don't know, like I don't know. When I heard Desire Lines, I kind of expected that to be kind of the album. So then hearing that and then going into like Basement Scene, which has a very different like sound right away. I don't know.
It's kind of
Maybe
like going into Gorillaz' debut when you only heard Clint Eastwood.
maybe.
Well, that was that's I was like one of like it's a kind of like joke now, but it was an actual thing that happened. Was that thrift shops would be filled with Gorillaz' debut album because people would buy it after hearing Clint Eastwood, which was obviously a massive hit,
Right.
and then the rest of the album didn't sound like it, so they just gave the CD away because they weren't going to listen to it again.
And I think there were songs
I
like
feel
Helicopter.
bad.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel bad for my friend because he recently bought a Noodles figure, like right before the whole fucking NFT business happened.
Yeah.
I mean, the NFT thing is just I wouldn't really go at artists too much for it. I think yeah, they probably shouldn't do it, but you know they're gonna make a living, and I think they're just
Well,
finding it
I
as a
mean,
fact.
I think the biggest hypocrisy is that they had the album Plastic Beach,
Yeah,
Oh
was all
yeah.
about protecting the environment, and then they're like, hey, NFT, the thing that is like actively destroying the environment.
Well, there
look,
was a
I think there's only one solution. We have to kill Kings of Leon.
please.
Please.
Yeah. But I think there was something I'm reading about how a lot of these artists might not know about it or like savvy enough to like keep up on what NFTs are. So they kind of get thrown
Yeah,
into
like
the marketing deals.
I remember Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's,
Hmm.
had something like that happen to him.
But because they don't know what NFTs are exactly, they just kind of agree to it. Then, either they find out or people object. Then either they just kind of sometimes bow because oh it's too much public pressure, or they really get offended by it and decide to change their mind.
Hmm.
I mean, it's kind of a whatever, I guess. I mean, I'm not really supporting the NFT.
Hmm.
It's I feel like it's a bit like it's not really damned if you do, damned if you don't. But you know, when you especially when you don't know 100% what happens behind the scenes, like you can't just fully go at an artist and not expect it to say that the label had a good hand in the decision, especially for like something like Gorillaz.
Hmm.
It's I don't know. Yeah, there's probably a case that they probably had a major impact in that decision as well, but you know, record labels can be cunts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, back to Bradford Cox. I once found a Deerhunter record at a Vinnie's for $1. because I heard Snakeskin back in 2015 on the radio.
Yeah.
And by the radio, I mean Triple J, because there was no way that was getting played on mainstream radio. And you know what? I really like Snakeskin, and after listening to this album, I think my favorite Deerhunter song is still Snakeskin.
That's fair. I kind of liked Helicopter and Fountain Stairs when I got to that part of the album, because, again, I think the second half's probably the better half. But I was really surprised that the first half did not grab me.
I actually agree, though. I do think that the second half is a lot stronger than the first half of this album is.
Yeah.
It's not really like that the first album, the first half is bad, but Desire Lines is where this album picks up, and then
Yeah.
it's kind of just good for the rest of it. Like, I love Coronado, and I love the closer as well. Actually, I think the closer is pretty good.
He would have laughed the tribute to, was it Jay Retired? How do you pronounce it?
I think it's pronounced J Retard,
Okay.
Yeah.
but it's not spelt that way, so we can say it.
But yeah, there was a
This is-
tribute to him.
This is kind of like the town in New Zealand called Whakatane, which once I found that out as a kid in primary, and once all my friends found that out, you guess how we're getting around saying the F word? The way that Whakatane is spelt as well is WHAKATANE.
Well,
So you could easily spell it and stuff. So you would quite easily get around it. It was the greatest thing for a bunch of Australian primary school kids. Might not be so great for the kids who live in Whakatane or the or the Maori people who named it.
You got a bunch of places like that. Like there's the Peniston and Scunthorpe problem.
I don't know. I'm familiar with that.
Well, basically there's an issue with like computer sensor algorithms where they like Peniston is spelled penistone.
Mm-hmm.
So
they ban it, but it's a real name.
Yeah, it's a real place, but like
what country
the
has
issue where,
fucking
like,
in it?
Austria.
Austria, that's it. That's the one where the signs constantly get stolen, and there's usually people who get caught having sex in front of it.
Oh yeah. In Colorado, they had to change one of the 420 mile signs into 419.99.
Nice.
I once had a fake Amazon address set as 69 Intercourse Road.
There's Intercourse, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it was. I think it was an Intercourse, and there's like an Intercourse Road.
Nice.
So I found it was a 69, and and my mom was the one who had it set up, so I just went to her. It's like, yeah, nah, I'm a teenager, mom. We're doing 69 Intercourse Road. I think she just looked disappointed at me, but I didn't care. I got Skyrim for $5.
Victory for you.
Victory for me. I was 15. I can do what I want. I can do what I want, mom. It's what I want to do, mom.
This is serious, Mom.
Is there any more mom related stuff that we covered, or is it just those two?
I think that's it.
Oh. Well, thank you, Mogwai, and thank you, Tism. You've held my joke for 5 more seconds.
Is there much else to say?
I like the album, and here we have a place called Parramatta, and I actually found out like 2 years ago that it's called Parramatta because that means land of eels, and now I understand why the team is called the Parramatta Eels, despite the fact that I've never seen a fucking eel there.
Fair enough.
All I want to see is an eel. Is that too much?
Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. Actually, one of the most interesting things about like Aboriginal naming schemes, especially with town, is that if you actually, and that's Parramatta's like very similar to that, but it has a bit of a difference. But if you actually double up on the word, it actually means many. And so many doesn't have like a whole it doesn't have like a single word for many. It's you've got the noun there, and if you say it twice, I don't think it's of every Aboriginal language. I think it's just with. I think it's for a majority. I don't know. I haven't gone too far into the research, and unfortunately, when there's hundreds of different Aboriginal languages, it's hard to research them all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that is the thing. If you double up on a word, it actually means many of.
It's neat.
Yeah.
And that's actually why we got a couple towns like Wagga Wagga or Mooney Mooney, because I don't know what Wagga or Mooney means, but it means of like whatever that they saw there or whatever the land is named after. It's because there's a lot of it there.
Interesting.
And Parramatta was a very similar one, because they when they discovered it or when they named it, there was a lot of eels, and I still haven't seen a goddamn eel. Give me a fucking eel.
Gotta camp out there. Just gotta wait for it.
I would go diving in Parramatta River, but it is very polluted.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, there's probably where
Maybe
your
that's
eels
where
are.
Pain.
Yeah, that's probably what I want. Anyway, Deerhunter, Halcyon Digest, favorites, least favorites.
That second half,
Understood.
that second half of Desire Lines is so hypnotic and like easygoing. That it's probably one of my favorite like my top songs ever personally. So I gotta go with that. Mountain Stairs and Helicopter are pretty good too.
I agree with Desire Lines probably being the best off this album.
Yeah, I quite liked Coronado. I didn't really have a least favorite off this album, if I'm going to be honest. I really just quite liked it.
Sailing, I can't remember for shit, and I'll go for 5 minutes, so I'm gonna go put Sailing as my least favorite.
I remember Sailing because it was kind of like croony in the way that like a drunk like staff singer at like a bar on the pier could be like kind of croony. So it was kind of like lazy, atmospheric. So I kind of appreciated that. My least favorite's probably something like Revival, where that was the lead single, but I do not think it represents the album very well.
Well,
Fair enough.
shall we go into albums ranking? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll get it out of the way, and so you guys can be mad at me later. I'm going to
Fair
put Genesis Owusu, number 3.
You know, it doesn't matter what you say from here. You're gone. You're just gone. Get out of this podcast.
It doesn't mean that I didn't like it. It means that I like the other ones just more.
Sure, of course.
But
Your words mean nothing to me, Trix.
Halcyon Digest is number 2, and Dopethrone is number 1.
I'm gonna be the same, but replace Electric Wizard and Genesis Owusu with each other.
So your 3-2-1 is Electric
Electric
Wizard,
Wizard,
Genesis Owusu, and Deerhunter, number
No.
1.
No. Replace Wizard and Owusu with each other.
Oh, okay.
Genesis Wizard?
The Wizard's number 3, Desire Lines number 2, Genesis number 1.
This is how you get King Gizzards, apparently. Yeah, number 3 is Electric Wizard, number 2 is Deerhunter, number 1 is Genesis.
Okay. I'm gonna be a little bit different. Number 3 for me is probably Deerhunter. Number 2, Electric Wizard. Number 1, Genesis Owusu.
I love how you had to pause there. Like it was some kind of like suspense, but we all knew.
Yeah.
I had some edibles a while ago, and it still hasn't worn off.
Fair enough.
Alright, I'm still debating what I choose for next week. So I got 3 options, and one of them is going to be very obvious what it is when I say the clue to it. So we have post music is what I'm going to call it. We have post punk and post live gig.
For post music, I'm gonna guess you're doing Atlas Genius.
No, Trix, you wanna have any guesses
That
of
was
those 3?
that was a joke, yes, but
Atlas Genius is actually Australian, though, aren't they?
yes.
Yeah, I've listened to one of their albums, and then I found out a couple like days ago. Apparently, they've had allegations against them, so like maybe I won't do them.
Oh,
Oh.
I remember listening to their debut
I
album.
don't know if it's. Isn't Atlas Genius a duo?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know too much outside of Trojans and Stock. Their second album, Inanimate Objects, had some good songs on it, but I might search more into those allegations if they're what's happened with those or if they were true before I ever go into Atlas Genius.
It reminded me
I
of it
have
because
I have no idea.
yeah, I was reminded of it because Bradford Cox goes by Atlas Sound. Like, didn't they have that
Ah,
album? If so, or whatever. It's like now those are very different.
no. So and Trix, do you have any choice in which one of those three I choose? Is Trix dead? Trix, are you here?
Jax?
Trix.
Oh,
She's dead. She's dead.
there she is.
Trix. Trix, are you back?
Yeah, sorry, I died somehow.
Yeah.
Alright, so post music, post punk, or post live gig? Which one do you choose, Trix?
Well, I know that the post live gig is going to be King Gizzard. Uh, I really don't care. Pick what you want.
I need help picking, that's the fucking point.
Post live
I'll just
gig.
pick
Let's
a
do it.
number and
Let's
you can
do
assign
the
it to
King
what.
Gizzard.
Alright, we're gonna do
Alright.
the King Gizzard. Alright, so the other options that you've missed out on were Black Midi's Cavalcade and Squid's Bright Green Field. I plan to do those two later anyway. But instead, we're going to do the first live gig on this podcast where one of us has actually gone to the fucking show.
Hell yeah.
And that's
Nice.
because 24, not even 24 hours ago, actually, from recording this 14 hours ago, King Gizzard uploaded onto Bandcamp and onto YouTube the full entirety of the Live in Sydney 21 gig.
And you were
We are
there.
now going to cover that. I was there. We are now going to cover that, and you're all going to bow down to me because I ascended during that gig. Thank you.
We gotta bring on our special guest, Peter Minimi, to give some commentary because he was also there, correct?
I gave no promises for a special guest. You're only letting down literally every fucking person.
I'm letting down most
Dominic,
of
this
myself.
is-
Just lost him in the mosh pit, didn't you?
Yeah, we lost him in the mosh. Around anorexia. It's like after nuclear fusion, he just like he gave me his hoodie and he said, "Yeah, fuck you, I'm going in a mosh." Well, not literally, but like he gave that sign, and then we lost him for like a good solid four songs.
Nice.
And then he came back out and he was just like, "I'm done." The mosh was, I know I'm spoiling it, but like the vibe for that concert was around. It was like hundreds of people who had been missing gigs like that for over a year,
Mhm.
finally going to let out a year's worth of fucking gigs in one night. It was fucking intense.
That's
And
hilarious.
I hope you watch the video, and I hope the video has it at the end song where they're doing KGLW, and I just remember there's this fucking guy in the crowd, and I love him where he's trying to do every single letter of KGLW with his hands, and he keeps fucking up remembering what the next letter is. And he just gives up like halfway through and just holds out W. So I love it.
Did you see yourself in any of the videos?
Nah, I wasn't close enough to the stage. Like I wasn't far from the stage, but I wasn't close enough that the cameras picked me up.
Fair enough.
Maybe we'll find Pete in there though.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my choice.
Nice. So this is the second week of my little Deerhunter look at. Now doing the Deerhunter DEAR Space Hunter, and not the other Deerhunter. And so we're doing so a lot of Deerhunter stuff is like very concept heavy.
Let's do the color spectrum, the whole fucking thing, right?
No, I was gonna pick Migrants because that's pretty much the one that's standalone. And there's a bunch of bonus tracks that make up something called the Migrations Annex EP, so I'm going to throw those on as well. It's basically the same thing as doing the special edition. And
All right.
I didn't want to start anything necessarily. I wanted to be sure we like this first. Because if we get into it, we can go into the whole Dear Misleading saga.
You gotta go into the color spectrum first. That one's, in my opinion, the Deerhunter worth going into.
That's like 9 EPs.
I have it. I have it on CD. It's an actual got the whole collection. You have to get 3 different CDs for the whole thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, love it.
It's
2
almost,
hours and 30 minutes long.
yeah, a lot of music.
And I believe the actual vinyl collection is actually 9 vinyl.
That's impressive.
Yeah. But
Trix, your choice.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you continuing here, Dominic? Or?
No, I was just trying to say that, yeah, Migrants, the standalone album, and the Migrations Annex EP, or the special edition tracks.
All right.
Fix is dead
Oh,
again.
pardon. Sorry. No, I'm here. I just had to burp. Um,
Illegal.
but I'm going to be dipping into Pride Month a little bit,
Ooh.
considering next week we're going to be June, and I'm going to be doing Against Me's. What is this album called again? Shapeshift with Me.
I just want to say that technically, because I'm in the crowd for the King Gizzard, and I'm bi, it counts as Pride Month. Thank you.
Okay, we'll technicality.
No technicality, it's just them. This counts.
Sure.
This counts.
Well,
Sure.
I have some Pride stuff queued up, but I really want to do this week first, from on my end. So
Oh, no worries. I was gonna go for another doom metal, but I can tell you guys are kind of fatigued out on it. So
that's fair. I mean, I'm willing to go back to it, but this is a nice little change.
oh, we will be going back to it.
You promise, right?
Yes.
Anyway,
Okay.
that was the last that we ever heard of Against Me, but until then, I have been Ritalin. You can catch me on my website, ritalin4kids.github.io. I also have a YouTube channel where I just upload whatever the hell I want, and last thing I uploaded was a CSGO clip. And yes, it is as cringe as you think it is. I got no follow-up to that. Someone stopped me from talking before I reveal all my secrets, like how in the 5th grade I left the water on when I left the tap on when the water was off, so that when the water came back on, it would flood the it would flood the floor. This isn't a joke. I actually did that.
Anyway, I'm Dominic. You can catch me on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. I've also written for Tilted Windmill Studios. I'm not writing there right now, but you'll probably write something for me eventually. You can also catch us on our website, dissonantwaves.space, and we're all on YouTube and Twitter at Dissonant Waves.
I have been Tricks. You can catch me on Twitter at procrastinaut_, like being astronaut, and then an underscore at the end of it. And I also have a YouTube channel that's on sort of a hiatus for a while right now. I got some things I need to figure out about it. But yeah.
And so then again, it's gonna be the King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard live in Sydney 21. Migrants by the
King
Deerhunter.
Lizard and a lizard.
King Glizzy and the Lizzy Wizzy.
And Migrants.
Lizzie McGuire. That's what we're doing.
And then the Migrants by the Deerhunter and their Migrations Annex EP, and Shapeshift with Me by Against Me. And I've been Dominic.
Yes.
I'm going to be surprised if I remember any of this happened.
Pulling a how I pulled that one time.
I'm gonna go back.
For a week.
I'm going to go to bed after this, and then we'll see what happens when I wake up.